Hi, in this video we're going to find the distribution of a population, and then we're going to make a sample from that. We're going to find the sampling distribution of the mean, the mode and the median. So let's just look at the question first. It says a manufacturer of thumb drives sells 32 GB and 64 GB in the ratio of 3:2. Find the mean and the variance of the thumb drives in this population. A random sample of 3 thumb drives is taken from the factory containing the thumb drives in this ratio. List all the possible samples, find the sampling distribution of the mean, find the sampling distribution of the mode, and find the sampling distribution of the median. Okay, so we let x be the random variable, the size of a thumb drive. The distribution of the population, there's only two values it can take, which is 32 and 64. So x can take on 32 and 64. It's a ratio of 3:2, means a ratio of 3/5 to 2/5. Therefore, the probability here will be 3/5, and the probability here will be 2/5. Notice these two both add up to 1. Now, the expectation, or the mean, is E of x is the sum of all x of x times the probability x is equal to x. So it's going to be 32 times 3/5 plus 64 over 2/5, which gives me 44.8 gigabytes. Notice it has to be somewhere between 32 and 64. To find the variance, we're going to need to do E of x squared, which is the sum of all x squared times the probability x is equal to x. So E of x squared is 32 squared times 3/5 plus 64 times 2/5, 64 squared times 2/5, which gives me 2,252.8 gigabytes. And then to find the variance, we will need to do E of x squared minus the mean squared. The mean squared is E squared of x. Let's take the previous answer and square it, the one where we found E of x. So that's going to be 2,252.8 minus 44.8 squared, which gives me 245.76 gigabytes. Now, if we were asked to find the standard deviation, then we'd have to take the square root of that. B. Possible samples are, well, if we just list them in some of order, so we could have samples of 3, so we could have a 32, a 32, and a 32, and then we could have two 32s, so 32, 32, 64, 32, 64, 32, 64, 64, 32, 32, and then we have one 32 and two 64, so it's 32, 64, 64, 64, 32, 64, 64, 64, 32, and then finally we can just have all 64s. Right, the mean of the first one here is going to be 32, so the probability that x bar is equal to 32, well, the chance of 32 can happen with 3/5, so it's going to be 3/5 cubed, which gives me 27 over 125. Now, the mean of 32, 32, 64 is 42 and 2/3, so the probability that the mean is equal to 42 and 2/3 is going to be, now there are 3 different ways this outcome can happen. We want 3/5 coming out 32, and then 1 2/5. This is why you should do it in some sort of order, and that gives you 54 over 125. Now, the mean of 32, 64, and 64 is 53 and 1/3. Again, there are 3 different ways that can happen. We want 32 to happen once, so it's 3/5, and then 64 to happen twice, 2/5 squared. It's a bit like a binomial distribution, this, which is 36 over 125. And then we've got 64, 64, 64. Probably the x bar is equal to 64 is going to be 2/5 cubed, which gives me 8 over 125. You should check that these all add up to 1, which they do. Then writing out the distribution of x bar, well, it can take on 32, 42 and 2/3, 53 and 1/3, and 64. The probability that x bar is equal to x is 27 over 125, 54 over 125, 36 over 125, and 8 over 125. Now the mode can only take on the values 32 and 64 because the mode is the most common. So these are the samples. Again, we'll just write those out. So probability that m, because m was the mode, is equal to 32. It's going to be all those, because here the mode 32 occurs 3 times, here twice, here twice, here twice. So it's just going to be that one plus that one added together. So it's 27 over 125 plus 54 over 125, which gives me 81 over 125. And for the mode to be 64, well, it's going to be these 3 here and this one here. That's where that happens. That's going to be these 2 from the table. So it's going to be 36 over 125 plus 8 over 125. Writing that out, that gives me 44 over 125. Again, check you get 1 when you add these 2 together. So the distribution of the mode m is going to be m 32 64. Probability m is equal to m will be those 2 probabilities, 81 over 125 and 44 over 125. These samples again are those. This time we want the median. The median, what is the median? The median is you write them out in ascending order and take the middle value. Well, again, we're only going to have to have 32 and 64 because we've got 3 values. So the middle one here will be 32, for example. And here, if we write these in order 32, they are in order, so that will be the median. You'd have to rewrite these in order, which will mean the second 32 is the middle value, and again here, second 32 would be the middle number. So again, it's going to be the same as this, adding the 2 values together, 27 over 125, which is the probability that happens, plus 54 over 125, which is the probability that happens, which gives me 81 over 125 again. Now, if the median is going to be 64, it means the first 64, that one, that one, that one, and that one. This one is already in order. These in order, so it will be 32, 64 if you put it in order. So the probability that n is 64 is 36 over 125, which is those 3 there, plus 8 over 125, which is that one there. So we get 44 over 125. So the median and the mode distributions are going to be the same. So the distribution of the median n is going to be, so the distribution of the median n, so make sure you use the correct notation, is n, it's 32, 64. The probability that n is equal to n will be 81 over 125 and 44 over 125. Okay, so this has been a video to show you how to find sampling distributions from a given population. I hope you've understood, and I thank you very much for watching.